Welcome back to the Football Hub mic. We are dropping everything for an absolute earthquake in the Northeast. Eddie Howe has finally left Newcastle United after 5 years of blood, sweat and historic glory. From dragging a flatlining Newcastle United out of the relegation zone in November 2021 to ending a 70-year trophy drought by lifting the Carabao Cup in March 2025, beating Liverpool in the process. Eddie Howe gave every single ounce of his soul to the Tyneside until his body and blood could not finally take it. Today, we are breaking down the end of an era, the toll of the job, and what Matthias Jaissle, who is stepping into the seat, means for Newcastle. Let's get into it. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you wherever you're watching me from. Welcome to the Football Hub mic, and I'm Chika, and I'm your host for today. If you're enjoying my podcast, if you're enjoying what I'm doing, smash the like button, subscribe, follow, and share this podcast. Tell people about my podcast. Be an advocate for me. Be an evangelist for me. We don't just break news for you. We analyze it. We give you insights, and we give you the statistics related to every individual and to every topic. So sit down, relax, and enjoy, and then spread the good job or the good work we are doing. Let's go. Number one, let's respect the history books. When Eddie Howe took over in November 2021, Newcastle hadn't won a single match. Not one match when he took over in November 2021. Remember, the season starts in August. Sometimes it could be August 14th, sometimes August 21st. Around second week of August or third week of August is when a regular season in the Premier League starts. So from that August to November, so you're looking at more than 11 games. So in more than 11 games, Newcastle had failed to win one single game until Eddie Howe stepped in the Premier League. They hadn't won any game. In fact, the season before, they narrowly escaped relegation. Eddie Howe turned Newcastle United into Champions League contenders and, most importantly, delivered their crowning modern-day achievement. Yes, the Carabao Cup trophy, the League Cup, in March 2025, ending a brutal 7-year domestic trophy drought. No one else but him did it. Yes, he must have done it with the players, with some expensive players, bought by the owners, by the Saudi-led owners, like Tonali, Guimaraes, Isak. Yeah, but at the same time, you could not compare the players Newcastle United had to the players other clubs had, like Manchester City, Liverpool, Arsenal, or even Chelsea. Yet, Eddie Howe not only saved them from relegation and made them Champions League contenders, he also delivered a trophy for Newcastle, something they have not witnessed for 70 years. Imagine being a Newcastle United and you've never seen his trophy at the Tyneside for 70 years, and finally, Eddie Howe made you believe. And suddenly, that same individual is walking out of the door because he can only give very little. His body, soul, and sweat is tired or are tired. He has kept losing his best players. Every season, his best players are sold. And Newcastle United have not kept the promise they made to the fans when they originally bought the club, the owners of Newcastle United. They keep on bleeding and they keep on selling their best players. And Eddie Howe has finally called it quits because it's becoming more difficult and more demanding each season. It's rather late than never. This wasn't just a football pattern, it was an exhaustion. The relentless pressure of the project consumed Eddie Howe entirely, famously landing him in the hospital with pneumonia following a punishing schedule. At one time, Eddie Howe gave everything until there was literally nothing for him to give again. Yes, one thing people cannot doubt or cannot question was his dedication to the work at the Tyneside. In fact, after Kevin Keegan, who is a legend of Newcastle, Eddie Howe is the second most popular manager in the Premier League era in Newcastle United. Generations, kids, people unborn will keep talking after him even long after he's gone or long after he steps out, because of not just saving them from relegation but delivering Champions League football to Newcastle United, not once, twice, and at the same time delivering a trophy to them, a trophy they finally had after a 7-year wait. Eddie Howe didn't walk away in a vacuum. The painful exits of core players like Alex Isak. You all remember how Isak's sale dragged. He said he wanted to go, and that Newcastle United didn't keep their side of the bargain. They promised him an extension and they didn't extend him. Rather than Newcastle sell him beginning of the season and then get another player, they dragged it to the end of the season. They ended up selling him at the end of the season. They bought Votemada, and then it ended up that the German couldn't live up to the billing. He couldn't replace Isak. And you could see last season that they solely missed Isak. because they finally ended in 12th position, having finished in Champions League places a year before last. Not only Isaac, Anthony Gordon and Sandro Tonali, paired with the stagnant recruitment cycle and a weakened squad, this left Eddie Howe fighting a losing battle against a self-imposed 2030 ambition timeline. Remember, Eddie Howe overstayed in Bournemouth, and this is something he says he regrets. He was the one that brought Bournemouth, or was in charge of Bournemouth when they were promoted to the Premier League. You remember, or you know, Bournemouth has the smallest capacity stadium in the Premier League. It was Eddie Howe who was in charge, and he kept them in the Premier League year after year. But what happened? He stayed too long, and Bournemouth ended up getting relegated with him in charge again. And maybe he has learned from his mistakes as regards staying too long and leaving where the ovation is loudest. A turbulent last season saw Newcastle slip to 12th in the Premier League, plagued by inconsistency and a disappointed 4-1 pre-season friendly defeat to the Championship side Bristol City. Just recently, they lost 4-1. The Championship side. So that tells you the season is going to be rough. They are going to, if they don't manage it well, battle relegation. The momentum had completely flatlined for Eddie Howe and Newcastle United. I understand it's a friendly, but with everything happening, they're about to leave Gemares. Sandro Tonali has gone. Trippier is no longer there. Newcastle couldn't even sign a player, Swiss midfielder, who ended up signing him, Aston Villa. Any player Newcastle wants to sign, somebody else signs them. Is it Liverpool? Any club, any player they talk to, another club is going to take that player away from them. That tells you they don't have the poise. They don't have the swagger. They don't have what it takes to sign players for Eddie Howe. Players are not interested in playing at the Tyneside, the Northeast. So that's one of the problems Eddie Howe must have seen that has made him resign. Now the keys are being handed over to Matthias Jaissle from Al Ali. Can an incoming tactical shift steady a transitioning squad, or are the Toon working right on the high risk of transition period? Do you think Newcastle will be relegated? Going by what is happening, don't think a club is too big. I remember when they were relegated some years back under Alan Shearer. It was very, 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 very bad day. But we all thought they were too big to be relegated. Even Aston Villa at the time were relegated. So Eddie Howe leaves a modern legend alongside Kevin Keegan. These are two managers who understood Newcastle better than it understood itself. But the show goes on as St. James Park Revolution takes a brand new, terrifying turn under Jaissle. Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash the subscribe button, and let's keep the debate roaring on in the Football Radiant community. Don't forget, be an evangelist for me. Tell people about this page, tell people about this podcast. Help us spread, share it, smash the like button. You've been locked in on Football Hot Mic, and we are out. Thanks. See you in the next one. Bye.